I've said this before, but I always find it interesting to reflect on our personal style. And today I want to share 10 ways that I've noticed my style has changed over the last sort of 12 to 18 months. And I'm going to start with the most obvious and most trendy one, which is the fluid drape trouser. I mean, if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that prior to that, I was very much a lover of the cropped trouser, which was very modern and felt very trendy. Whereas now we're looking at those longer, leaner silhouettes and things that have a little bit more movement and flow to them that aren't so structured or rigid. I found that this has been a great way to balance out my proportions because I typically wear these with a high rise, so it just makes my legs look like they're a mile long despite the fact that I have shorter legs for my height. And I've really been enjoying playing with this new perspective, this new sort of silhouette for me anyway, because prior to that, they weren't really part of my style repertoire. There's a few different pairs that I have been wearing recently, so I will overlay some of those on screen, as well as linking down in the description box below everything that I'm sharing in today's video. I found this a really great way to just give my wardrobe a little bit of a refresh, leaning in on that trend while still opting for something that is a very classic silhouette. Kind of following on from the fluid drape trouser, I also wanted to talk about straight leg jeans, and I'm talking about really straight leg jeans, things that are wider cut through the leg. And this part of the video does include a paid for integration with Farfetch, and I'm so thrilled to be partnering with them again. So I've got a few items scattered throughout this video which are really reflective of the way that my style has been shifting. If you're not familiar with Farfetch, they're essentially an aggregator which allows you to access boutiques from all across the globe. So actually one of my orders came from Greece, another one came from the UK, one came from here in Australia. It's really incredible because it gives you the ability to shop things that are a little bit more unique or that might be a little bit more challenging and tricky to get. And what I really like about shopping on Farfetch is that all of the taxes and duties are listed in the ticket price. So you know that when you get to checkout, there's not going to be any nasty surprises. Shipping is incredibly fast. It usually just takes a few days after you've placed your order to receive your items, and returns are very easy too if something doesn't fit quite the way you were anticipating. But I think the thing I like the most about Farfetch, aside from the really amazing selection of both brands and items that you often can't find anywhere else, is their loyalty program, which is called Access. I recently just went up a level in their loyalty program, which means I've now got access to more benefits in addition to receiving a credit that I was able to apply to this order. I do have another discount code with Farfetch, which I'm going to pop on screen here, and I'm going to list all of the details down in the description box below, along with links to everything that I have shared, so that you can save a little bit on your order if you decide to purchase something. But talking about the straight leg jeans, I finally decided to purchase a pair of the Levi's ribcage jeans, which I've been wanting for a while. I actually tried them on when I was pregnant, but I wanted to wait until after our daughter was born to actually purchase a pair. But I love the fact that these are super high rise, so they really kind of keep you feeling nice and secure around the waist, and then they have this really lovely straight fit through the leg. Now I opted to get these in my usual size 26, which I find is a perfect fit. These jeans have a small amount of elastane in them, which makes them very comfortable to wear. I really like the inseam length as well. I feel like it's a good length for me, but this particular silhouette, something I'm so drawn to because it's just funny to me that I always felt like crop trousers were the ones that would make your legs look longer, when it's really this longer length that gives you that visual illusion of height and like your legs go on for days. So very thrilled with these, and I find that they're so easy to style up as well, which I think is down to the fact that they are quite sort of fitted at the waist. I also have another pair which is from Weekday that is a great alternative too. They're a bit more affordable. However, I find that the Levi's pair are very consistent with their sizing, whereas Weekday can be really tricky. This next one is something you probably not really seen me wear or even talk about, but it is baseball caps. So I actually just added a new one to my closet from Farfetch, which I'm really loving. It's in a black and it says more joy, which it just kind of makes me feel a little bit happy when I see it. And also I find that it creates a bit less contrast because it is a darker color. The other one that I have is kind of a creamy beige hue. So it's one that I would wear when I'm wanting to create great contrast, but for me, this is just such a pragmatic tool in my styling repertoire. It's something I'm often wearing to really protect my face from the sun, because I do live in Australia, so it's something that you kind of have to be quite mindful of here. Sheer fabrics is the next one, and for me, again, this is really something that is playing into that concept of wanting to create visual interest, depth, dimension in my outfits, and ways to make it feel more interesting. So I decided to add to cart this beautiful sheer dress from Sur the Label. This was one that I got from Farfetch as well, and I've opted to get this in a size 1, which is the equivalent of an AU8. But this is just such an incredible piece, something that you could wear to the beach as a bit of a cover up, but then also equally wear out for drinks, maybe swapping out your flip-flops for a pair of strappy sandals, and then also wearing a little slip underneath, which is kind of what I've opted to do here. I really like the way that you can have a bit of a peekaboo effect with sheer fabrics, and they can also be really textured and tactile as well from that perspective. It's funny how as I've gotten older, I felt a lot more comfortable introducing these sorts of elements into my outfits, and that's something I've really been reflecting on a lot, because there's another item that I've really started to find myself enjoying that I never would have worn a decade ago. So the next two are around colors that I've really lent on over the past kind of 12 months, some a little bit more recently. So the first one I want to talk about is the color gray. And I know that this isn't anything new. I've always had gray in my closet, but it's usually been more of a lighter gray marl, something that doesn't have too much depth to it. Recently, I found myself reaching for those really darker, more heavily saturated grays, things that are a little bit more deep in color and that feel a bit moodier. And this is something that I've noticed as being a real trend. And so I decided to lean on this with these Totem leggings. I have been wanting to purchase these for the longest time, so I finally decided to take the opportunity here. They're really thick ponte fabric, so lots of stretch to them. They're really, really comfortable on, and they're incredibly long. At the ankle, they do actually have a little zipper so that you can create a slit. You could bunch them up if you wanted to. I sort of envision myself wearing them with the zipper completely unzipped with a pair of heels, probably, so that I can get the most length out of them and create that sort of long, lean shape that I've sort of been craving a lot lately. But yeah, they're just absolutely stunning, and I can see why they have been a real favorite over the past few years. The gray is definitely a new color that I've seen, but I just found myself really gravitating to wearing even monochromatic or fully tonal outfits in 100% gray. And it's an opportunity to lean on that tonal aspect that I like of my personal style, while opting for something that has less contrast than a full black or even a full navy look. The other color that you will have seen me introducing a lot into my wardrobe recently is the color green. And for me, this is, I think, a color I've really kind of gravitated towards because it is reflected in nature. It's an earthy tone, but doesn't feel muddy or mucky like beiges and browns sometimes can feel, which is really down to the undertone. So there are a couple of pieces, one being this beautiful ribbed tank from St. Agni. This one is in this kind of soft muted moss green. And this one has just been such a favorite because it has been a really easy one to reach for over the summer. And then also I have a sheer, talking about sheer fabrics earlier, a sheer blouse from a brand called H8, which I also like, and I tend to pair these back with either light browns, blacks, or whites, just because I want them to be the hero of my outfit. Next one I wanted to mention is the chunky sandals, something that I have been using a lot to ground my outfits and to create visual balance, which has been a lot of fun really, because for the longest time I've just opted for those very sort of slim slip-on sandals. So this has been a great way to sort of just remix things and make them feel fresh and new again. So I do have a couple of pairs that I have been wearing quite a lot. One being a pair from the Row. I will link some dupes down in the description box because they are an older style. And then I more recently purchased the Arizona Love sort of tricky sandals. These are basically an elevated take on the Teva, and I'm really enjoying the specific ones I purchased because they have a tactile quality with the velvet wrapped around the straps. The other item I definitely wouldn't have worn a decade ago is anything cropped, but I found myself really enjoying having a little sliver of skin showing, just that little bit of midriff. For me, this is just a bit fun, it's playful, and it's also practical. Living in a hot and often muggy climate, sometimes you want to have as little fabric on your skin as possible, and for me that's a way to do it. It's also a great way to just play with clothing and do something a little bit different. I think one of the things I especially like about this desire to wear things that are a bit more cropped is that it doesn't require the purchase of anything new. You can easily just tuck your top up into your bra to create that cropped effect and also create a new silhouette. So a good way to remix some of your wardrobe favorites and make them feel new. Next one centers all around jewelry, and this was sort of kicked off by a photo that I saw. I actually want to say it was maybe 18 to 24 months ago, but it was essentially a woman who was wearing mixed metals on her hands. She had gold and silver rings, and same with her bracelets, and I was so drawn to this, and it really kicked off and inspired a desire or the sense in myself to do the same. I think what I like about this is that there is this component of friction in your style when you are mixing these two things that we're often told not to combine, and it just created a fresh new look, something that felt really modern and different to me, and so I've really been enjoying playing around with that. I think probably the simplest way to do it would be to wear a piece of jewelry that actually combines the two, or even like what I've done here today. I am wearing this silver and gold mixed metal watch. Next we have the wrap front skirt, which is something that I really have enjoyed wearing because I find it to be really flattering, because you have that ruched effect across your waist, which is typically an area, like I get quite bloated, so it's something that I am very conscious of, and when I'm wearing a wrap skirt, something that does have ruching in that area, makes me feel a lot more confident. Now both these skirts are ones that I ordered from Farfetch. The black one, you may remember, I ordered last year. It was actually before our home renovation began, and this one's really nice and stretchy, and when worn with something black, it looks like it's a dress, and I've loved dressing this one down and dressing it up. The newer addition to my closet is this really lovely white woven textured one. So this one doesn't have any give and it has a zip up closure, but it is such beautiful quality. It's fully lined, and I opted for both of them in my usual size 36, and this is the equivalent of an AU8 or a US 4. I really appreciate the fact that these are versatile, as I'm often looking for things that I can wear multiple different ways, so I can get a lot of mileage out of them and really maximize that cost per wear. Finally, the matching set. I don't know why I was sleeping on this for so long, but this is just such a simple way to get dressed. You might have seen me talking about it in a recent video where I was chatting about outfit formulas, but this is, for me, a no-brainer. You have two pieces that work harmoniously, combination worn together, but then just as simply they can be integrated into your closet and styled up multiple different ways, which is what I've been doing with both of these sets that you will see on screen here. I really enjoy wearing them, and they've just been great all-rounders, especially for a Sydney summer. So that is a little peek into how my style has shifted over the past 12 to 18 months, the items that are really making waves in my wardrobe and that I'm finding myself really drawn to over some of those other core staples that I wore on repeat even just a handful of years ago. Don't forget, I do have that brilliant discount code with Farfetch, which I'm going to pop on screen again here, and all of those details will be down in the description box below, along with links to all of the items that I shared today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really curious to know the ways that your style might have evolved or changed over the past few years, so please also tell me down in the comments section, and just thank you so much for watching and spending some of your day with me. If you're new and want to subscribe, I'd love to have you back, and I will see you next week with a brand new video. See you soon. Bye.